Hello once again. I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine. Tonight we're reviewing House LLC Lineage, the latest in the House LLC franchise from director Stephen Cognetti. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I feel like I'm not, but he also has directed 825 Forest Road. So join him there and join us just after this for our review.
Gruesome Magazine.
All right, joining me tonight is Paul Gardullo. Welcome back to Gruesome Magazine. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you, Doc?
I'm doing good. This is going to be an interesting review, so let's move into it. But before we do, we want to remind you to hit the like button, share, and subscribe, and do all those things, because every click like that will help us find more horror fans just like you, and we'll just become a stronger and larger community. All right, this film is different from the previous because it is shot standard. I don't know, what do you call it? Because we found footage. The previous ones were all found footage.
I just say it's not found footage.
But this one's linear, right? Not even linear, but it's just not found footage.
It's just right standard film movie.
I'm sure there's a real good name for it that I'm not using. It is coming to Shudder October 30th, 2025. It should be available on VOD as you watch this if it's before the 30th, if you want to jump ahead. But I would recommend at the very least catching it on Shudder because Shudder has some fantastic stuff on it and it makes it worth the watch. Again, it's directed by Stephen Cognetti, and he also wrote it. The cast includes, and I'm going to butcher some of these names, so I apologize in advance. Elizabeth Vermilyea, Searra Sawka, Mike Sutton, Joe Bandelli, Cayla Berejikian. I'm pretty sure I got the J pronouncing wrong in that. And Victoria Andrunik. Why do I torture myself with these names? But anyway, and the synopsis is, after a near-death experience, Vanessa Shepherd faces nightmares in Abaddon. A mysterious death occurs around her, and she discovers her connection to the Abaddon Hotel, Carmichael Manor, and decades of unexplained murders. So we'll start off by saying that I have only seen the first one. So much like an earlier review we did where you had seen the first one, now you were catching me up like 6 in. Now it's my turn. But we'll start there. But now we'll jump to you, Paul. What was your first impression of House LLC Lineage?
Well, okay, so I've seen the originals at least, some of them at least twice. Well, some of them at least 3 times. I've seen all of them at least twice because just back in August, when this was going to have a very brief theatrical run, me, my wife, and my sister-in-law rewatched them. Actually, the first time for my wife, so my wife could see them. So we never ended up seeing the theater, but we watched them again. So I've seen these at least twice, just recently even. And this film assumes that you have at least seen 3 and 4, and you remember them, because we're watching it and I'm having to give you like, so Doc, this is it. I'm like going, I don't remember who the hell that is, looking up the Wikipedia thing going, oh yeah, okay, so this is this, and I'm having to give you like all this backstory because there's lots of lore.
I had a guide.
Yes. And even then I was like, who the hell are they talking about there? And then there's like this big reveal and so blah blah blah, and I'm like, who? What the, I don't know. So that's my reaction. This one was, I mean, it's the series overall is not, it's not one of those series that necessarily, it doesn't accelerate in terms of its quality. We'll just say that as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Well,
having not watched them, what was your take?
Well, I wasn't that confused because I wasn't trying to connect the dots. So yeah. It was just, it was, but there is a great deal of explaining everything.
Yes,
exposition everywhere. and you can get lost in it. And some of it, like, okay, that person looks a lot similar to that person, or and who are these two people at the top of the stairs, and why are they only there for that one thing? So, but you were filling me in, so I didn't feel lost because I had cheat notes on the couch next to me. Tell me everything about it. So that was. I enjoyed a good part of this. There are some shots that are, because it's also not found footage, so there's more cinematography. Not for the found footage.
Right.
Type of, it's not shaky and grainy, and there is some found footage in the mix, but most of the time it's a standard kind of thing. And so there are moments that the creep factor is ramped up very high, especially when they get to the Abaddon Hotel.
Oh, that's actually they're actually the Carmichael.
Oh, they were in the Carmichael. See,
they're at the Carmichael. They weren't even in the Abaddon. The Abaddon was burned down. They're at the location of the Abaddon, but they never actually. Yeah.
See, now so there's my confusion right there. I'm not really sure which one was, but yes, the Carmichael Manor. It was very creepy at times in there, and so I enjoyed parts of it. Most of it, I felt very confused and trying to catch up or keep up, or you were helping me. I didn't feel like I needed all the details you were giving me. I just needed no, it was perfect. But to get to where I needed to be, just to understand, what's the Carmichael, what's the Abaddon, and stuff like that. The biggest disappointment was the end. Yeah. And so,
such as it is.
Yeah, it kind of is anticlimactic. So my first impression was very mixed, highs and lows throughout the film. So
yeah,
let's talk about some of the good stuff.
Okay.
The good stuff was, for me, and I don't know who the character is, but there's a lady. She was like one of the daughter of the man that owned the Carmichael.
Yeah.
And she is throughout the movie in various forms of display. I don't want to say too much about it, but you kind of get the picture. And there are some things with her that are very creepy. One involves a coffin. The other involves a bed in a bedroom. And they did that very well. The clowns, which are also throughout the film, were less successful. There were times when they were, but a lot of times when I just like, what?
Yeah, well, so like in the films, generally the clowns are portrayed as, oh, these are just clown dummies, and then when they move, it's like we know they're gonna move, but the characters usually don't. And then when they do move, or you see that they're gone, then it's creepy. But this one, from almost the very beginning, they're presented pretty much as fully mobile, and they run into them a couple times as statues, but not really. So yeah, I think that really lessens that impact of those clowns, which, again, there's a holdover from the other movies, but they come across more as just like guys in clown costumes, which they kind of did anyway, but even more so here.
Yeah, there's a shot early on in the film with at a carnival that was probably the most effective use of what you're describing.
Yeah,
and that worked. I like that sequence. That sequence worked really well for me. But later on, like when they're sitting in a chair or standing, like as a decoration on a house or something, it kind of just fell a little flat for me. So now I will say, so we were supposed to say something good and then we ended up with bad, but I'm going to say something good. I found myself really liking the lead actress, Elizabeth Vermilyea.
Okay, yeah.
And she was in a previous film, right? She was in
Hell House LLC 3. So yeah, she was the lead in that one.
Right. Oh. And I thought she did a really good job. So she had a good range of emotions to play and had a strong presence. So I really enjoyed her.
I think she did well. I think and I mean, as long as we're talking about good, positive things, you were talking about cinematography earlier. What I liked is, like you said, since it was a standard film, not a found footage film, they could do more things cinematography, with cinematography. But they also kind of use some of the same tricks they used in found footage, but in with standard film. So the background be a little out of focus, like mine, and then but you'd see just out of focus something move or so, and
Mhm.
which was really effective, and it's kind of a holdover from that, but didn't feel like a holdover. So I mean, that was kind of neat where they said, okay, here's still things we would have done in found footage, but here we can frame it even a little better. And like some of that was the stuff you're talking about in the Carmichael, especially with some really nice creep factors where all of a sudden you
Yeah.
realize that something's back there that shouldn't be.
There's some fun depth of field things going on.
Very
Did
much so,
you?
yeah.
Did you? One last question is,
Yeah,
since you've seen much more of the found footage ones,
yeah.
and I did. I saw the original probably what 10 years ago,
Oh, more,
maybe
yeah,
less.
more, yeah.
Um, the what do you? How do you think this approach to the material um, compares to the previous found footage ones? Does it improve it, or does it kind of disappoint because it's not?
I didn't really have a problem with that. I think it let them tell a different kind of story
Mm-hmm.
with it, but the problem that led to some problems because I don't know if they knew how to handle that properly. Because we do get kind of a split story at one point where there's action in two different places, and you'd get the tension build up over here, and then it would cut over here, and not in a way to like heighten the tension or to give you this like juxtaposition. It was just like randomly kind of edited. Like it should have been. I think the editing needed to be better because it just completely, it would just it would diffuse the tension you built up over here. But so when the time came back, you're like, I don't what okay,
Yep. Yep.
and it broke up this story in a weird way. So and I think that was partially because they were doing not if they were found footage kind of forces you to be a little you're a little more highly structured.
Mm-hmm.
And I think getting away from that in this case seemed to cause an issue for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. I did feel that issue with the tension on that particular scene. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's
Okay.
give our score 1 to 5, 5 being the best. What did you think? Hell House LCC Lineage.
So it's tough because I mean, I give them credit for trying something different. I give them credit for trying to tell a different kind of story. Oh, actually, kind of one thing I did want to touch on that we didn't mention, which is the other films are basically haunted house stories. In this one, only part of it is a haunted house story. The other part, like I said, I looked at it as like, is this Final Destination Bloodlines? It just kind of
Oh, it does feel like it.
yeah, it's like a completely different kind of story, and I think they should have stuck with. They still could have done the same thing, but still could have gone with make it more of the haunted house story. So anyway, so that kind of takes away from it, but I give them credit for at least trying that. They do always try to up the lore, like there's people who really love lore heavy stuff, and so the people who love the lore heavy stuff and love that more lore gets added on will probably enjoy this more
Mm.
because that. But again, you had to have seen these and you had to be familiar with them. I'm
So
hemming
your
and hawing
so
because I'm
your
like,
score is
I know. Crud. Crub. I mean, I'm gonna say 2.5.
okay.
Um,
I think that's fair.
because it gets a little higher score because because they have some ambition and try to do some things. There are some effective little creepy bits, but it gets a much lower score because even having seen the movies just like a month or two ago, I'm like, who the hell are they talking about? Who is this person? What the hell's going on? And not in a good way.
Yep.
And just that ending, which is kind of like it, just kind of. So there you go, 2.5,
Yep.
and
I
as I
I'm
keep
gonna
talking.
I'm gonna join you. I'm gonna join you with that 2.5 as well, and for all the
Okay.
same reasons. It just um yeah, for the same. I don't have any much to add because you said it all. All
Repeat it.
right, with that, let's get out of here. Paul, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you coming along for these. Let's say goodnight.
Oh yeah, I've had a blast watching them. And good night, everybody.